for Dream Team, which I'm really excited about because these two guys have been two of the alternates who I'm just delighted carried on through and produced some really good courses. I was always going to give them a playthrough, but due to actually people dropping out, they're completely involved in the contest, and actually Oscar's Mount Mishacoco is going to be the contest that's the most judged, due to also subbing in for another the non-finishers. So we're going to look through the form that they filled out. Now Mount Mishacoco, this is Oscar's second ever course. He did one for rookie last year, which got out of groups, which is a good achievement. And then this is the second one since, so it's been a long while, and I was in Blue Discord with him. It was great to see his ideas come together and just keep refining. And when this, I will say that when this started being planted, it really jumped up a notch for me. I think it's something you can be really proud of. I'm looking forward to digging into it, getting you some good feedback, and yeah, seeing how we go. So what tees would you like to be judged from? Blue, any further conditions is a must. North to north east wind, low/medium was my favourite playtest, rest default. Cool. Any key design features, nothing in particular. Intended difficulty is easy/medium, so standard CC. Any real life courses, no. Which three required elements? 4 greens within 200 yards, 3-shot par 5 and a drivable par 4. Interesting. And they are 14th hole, 12th hole, and then 1, 3, 7 and 11 for the 4 greens. Great. So let's set this to, it will be nice to play around with medium winds, I think. I've been doing that for a lot of us. And let's go with north. Other than that, everything default. And go blue tees, and let's go for pin number 2. So as you can see from the picture, I think we're looking at Swiss, but with that gorgeous kind of gloomier lighting that I think we've seen. Now the other fun thing about today's 2 streams is the 2 courses that we're watching are going to go head to head on the final day, which is always fun now that we can see that coming through. So really nicely, yeah, there you go. Swiss course, middle of a forest. And you can see how everything works to and from this one point here. So I like that we hit our first green, I think, here. Yeah, can tell by the grids on it. And you're taking us to that one major point, and then we keep working our way to and from. I remember leaping into this one for the video that we took, and this little view down here, I think this might be your published picture as well. I really liked just the way it works along the riverside, keeps going away and then coming back towards it. It's just when it opens up a bit more down here. Love this planting down here. That's great. And then we had a river working its way through. Yeah, and we can see we kind of got 2 types of trees. I think just zooming around you could vary tree heights a little bit more, so these ones are all very uniform, one height, and then we've got the bigger ones. It's kind of like there's not much in between. They're either this height here or this height. I think if you're mixing those up you'll see a bit more kind of, yeah, it'll look a bit more natural rather than just having the low rank and then the high rank behind them. I wonder whether the high rank or auto-gen might be. Anyway, looking forward to this one. Let's get into it. So, I like the grassy planting around the bunkers. I think maybe a few bushes scattered in would help with this, because again the rendering just makes it look like there's nothing there and then suddenly there is, and that's a game thing. I like that we're starting with a par 5. That bunker is very prominent. And it's well sculpted and it's a good shape, and yeah. This one kind of asks you one pretty straightforward question, just can you hit past the bunker? I think fairway shapes, they go a little in and out for no real reason. So here you're pinching the landing zone, but giving me a bit more space out here I think would make more sense. and then it's do you want to play close to the bunker, but it's kind of wider here than it is here, which doesn't make much sense to me. Medium winds and it's 9 miles. Excellent. We'll try and hit something. Yeah. Always going to miss the fairway. It's fine. Okay. Same kind of thing in the layup zone. I'd have liked to have a bit more layup options here, or put a bunker here or something. I think over here it makes a bit more sense because of the planting. When the fairway cuts in, I'd like there to be a reason for that. Like, why have you cut the fairway there rather than giving us a bit more space? That said, I do like the green sculpting. This is good. So if we had a pin back there, I like that you've given us pin there. Yeah, you can see it's kind of separated into different sections, but the slopes you haven't gone wild with. I can see how they can be used to help. I'm hoping you've put a pin down here because I'd love to use that little kicker slope. Yeah, just hit a fairway would be lovely, but I think the critique is valid. Morning, Kenyon. I do like this grass close up. This works really nicely and very much. The waterside planting is really good. I think I'd have liked you to have this grass kind of everywhere. I don't see. Yeah, it's not as much here. As you can see, when it high draws, it works really well. I'd have liked a bit more down here as well. Well, not left myself the best angle into this one. Would have rather been coming from here. That's not too bad. Didn't look at the green speeds. Oh, 165. Good speed. That's a nice par 5 to start. I really enjoyed that green site, actually, in the way you'd done your slopes there. So now we've crossed, and we've got a longish par 4 uphill, and you've managed the elevation change really nicely. Fairway shape again. If we look at the overhead, I think you're starting your fairway a bit too close to the tee. Generally, I'd go for about 180 yards, which will cut off some of this awkward area here anyway. It's the sort of cutting in and going back out. It just looks a bit weird off the tee, particularly if you see where it's coming out there and then dips back in and then comes back out. I think having some slightly straighter lines or gentle curves will sort that. Then again up here, the waviness. I don't know. It's not really working for me. Again, bunker's good. Right, this one's more. Take light rough. And it makes sense that you've defended the left-hand side because, yeah, you want to be coming at this green from the left a bit more. Might have liked this tier to be a little less severe. But I think it does what it needs to, and given that you've given us a relatively straightforward par 5 on the first, having a second that plays a bit more challengingly works nicely. And we've got to deal with the elevation change, and yeah. I think maybe this planting a little bit too close to the green. Also think you benefit from sinking a couple of bigger, leafier trees down behind here and just blocking out the fact that we can see that it's just this one little row of trees because you can see all the green space behind it. Hey, gravy. But really good look, and that bunker looks great from here. Let's go find it. Mentions hazard. It's in hazard. But yeah, I think this is what there's been two really well done for opening holes. Just like they're simple, but they're well done. There's one. The bunkers are well positioned. They make a lot of sense. This one, I like the green. I would like a bit more off the tee. Just wide open is fine. I think you need bunkers or something visually here. Love that we can see the clubhouse through there. Tree lines are great. Everything. Just give me something other than a dead straight shot where I'm certain I'll miss the fairway, but yeah, as predicted. feel it needs a bit more rather than have at it. Again, waterside planting, really, really good. Hey Nitro. Yeah, no worries. I've got 2 to do, and then depending on how nap time is going, I might leap into the designer for a little bit. That's a really fun green. And given that I still think I would have liked a little bit more on the tee shot, just something to challenge, even if it's just visually, or just break it up a bit. But it does make sense to chuck a front to back green here when we've come all the way down and you've not bunkered massively. Like, gentle tee shot followed by a tricky approach. I think you've meshed that really well. Because actually your challenge on this hole is distance control and spin. So yeah, it works nicely. I'm really liking the vibe of the course though, and the environment. I think this bunker a little too close to the tree line, and occasionally the shapes are getting away from you. So, by which I mean this little tendril of bunker here and here, they're just a bit too narrow. So if we did play from in there, it's just going to look a bit awkward. I generally like the shapes you've gone with, and sculpting's pretty solid. This one is falling down a little more here than maybe I'd like. Probably bump up this bit of land a touch. Yes, I do have a new one coming. In probably a week, maybe. Yeah, I think this tree line and the bung is just a bit too close to the playing surfaces. Either I'd move the playing surfaces away a little bit or give the tree line a little bit more space. Hi, Dwayne. And is that a hole going in the other direction? Yeah, it is. Okay, that's good. Love this little copse of tree. Like, that's really nice. Okay. I think I can just... I haven't looked at the green yet. Oh, okay. I like the green. Right, the green side's brilliant. I think I might have gone with a less outlandish green shape, because if your pin's here and you miss slightly, you're not going to necessarily have a way down to it. Whereas I think you kind of needed to choose between whether you're using this section or you're using this section. One or the other would make this fit a little better. But the planting behind it's really good. I think down here I'd probably make some of the rocks a bit bigger, some of the bushes a little bigger. Would help for ground cover. But it's good. Like, this is another nice memorable hole. Oh, thank goodness you gave us some fairway there. Here's a shot. I mean, by fluke I've got the right angle for this pin, but we've got to execute on that one. Again, really interesting shot. And oh, it's not coming down. Yeah, he did. If Nitro's not responding. Not quite. I like the little pond as well, and that you. What I think I like most about it is that you've been restrained enough not to bring it all the way in front of the green, or just put a green over it. It's a really interesting hole because of that. I'm really enjoying this. Okay. Green shape, you'd kind of see on, as I said, similar on Dylan's. I feel like this green shape is just a little bit forced. Like, we've got the 2 tongues. One, I can see why we're doing it. We've got 1 pin, 2 pins, 3 pins, 4 pins, and they will play differently. But the really jagged harshness with the finger coming in and out, I think what you'd probably see in real life is maybe have the same concept but be a little severe about it. So working through here more gently and then flattening this a little bit would probably be how we deal with it in real life. As is, and the spine is maybe a little too much. Oh no, I think there's two competing ideas here. You've got the really wild green shape and the three competing ideas. Wild green shape, swale, spine. I think you only really needed one of those, and then just maximise that idea. Off the tee, it looks great. It's really nicely framed. I love the way you've done your two fairways intertwining. That little copse of trees again breaks it up beautifully. Framing's great, and the look is class. And also for this length of hole, I don't think you want to be separating the green quite this much. The difficulty from this comes from the length of shot, really. Probably going to be long. Long and left isn't too bad. Yeah, I'd seen that work in progress thread. It looks interesting because most of your courses have been African based, haven't they? I can't remember which one it was. I think I reviewed T-Con Reserve, was it, of yours, way back when? I really like that. Like, raw still, but good. Okay, next hole. And we're crossing the creek again. Again, an interesting wave where you've put it. Running all the way down the right. I might have liked you to make us take on the creek a little bit more. So if you're cutting fairway again with the in and out, I'm not so fond of. But in this case, it's also strategically, if we put the fairway right up to here and made it so that our best angle at the green is from close to this hazard, I think you get a more interesting hole rather than... I think it looks great, but really the players just hit somewhere down the fairway. Whereas you could have made me really challenge the water on the right, which would have made life a lot more challenging. Now, actually, that said, the closer we are to the creek, the more we're avoiding this little slope a little bit. But yeah, I think we could do that a bit more. Bunker sculpting is solid. I think you could drop this down, just this little bit of land, and then you'll see more of the bunker from ground height. It's tough with the elevation change you've got. I think probably just this. Again, planting behind the green, great. Right, this is a massive step up on the rookie course from last year. Oh, the classic pull apart miles left. I like the detail on the plantings really good as well. I like that you've sunken the gorse down. Got some... what was it I just saw? Yeah, those bushes work nicely. And this brown kind of more muted grass works really well. I like the little house. Bit of an Arctic Fury nod. Yeah, same thing again with the tee shots. I think they look great. I think there could be a bit more challenge off them. I mean, we're obviously not going to hit a good tee shot because every time I say that. But the tee shots feel like the approach shots I think are really good. I think the tee shots could use a bit of work. Sidelines have been great, generally. Colour palette's really good, particularly, and it's going to seem like a weird little comment, but with the white mountains in the background, it really makes the darker trees work in a way that I think other courses it maybe didn't have. Other backdrops it wouldn't do as much. Not quite. This green feels a touch more random. I think I generally like all of the slopes, but this mound here, I think I like how it plays a lot more than why is it there. So if I'm ever looking for a mound or something like that, it's why is it there other than the designers decided to put it there? Like this one, for example, we can see that it's come from that mound off the green, but there's nothing off the green that would suggest that this should be there. So I think that's probably where I'm struggling a bit more with it. Oof, didn't want to park like this. Hello. Yeah, we're going to do... This bunker is sculpted a little less well. I think your problem is with this one, you've tried to raise this up. If you lowered this down, it would make, because that's trying to be high and this is trying to be high, it means that there's very little you can do with the sand in between other than go down and then back up again. If you drop that down a bit, then it becomes a lot easier. Generally, the narrower your shapes are, the harder it's going to be to sculpt. That one, honestly, I think I'd have a pretty tough job doing. Hiya, Dan. Same comments really on the fairway shape. Actually, I think, although I do like the hazard placement and where you've cut this bit of the fairway, because it's making me think I really have to challenge the bunker because of the way it's going to feed round. And if I hit straight, I'm running out of fairway. I like that curve. That makes sense. This one, less so. I think if you just gave me a load of fairway out here in a straighter line, this would make a lot more sense to my eye. But sightline again, really good. Go on. Nearly. And again, the green will reward you from hitting that slightly more courageous tee shot and going to the left-hand side. I also like that Ben is doing everything he can to avoid that. Got to brainstorm some more vocabulary. Coming back to look at Clubhouse, and the green behind it is a really nice look. This is a great view. You've mixed openness and heavy tree line really, really well. Bunker sculpting, I think, is still a bit of a work in progress. This one's fallen down probably a bit too much. It's just one where it's going to be practice. Now I'm hoping that might hit the slope. Oh, got caught up in the heavy rough. That was really close, and you've given us a green that allows us to work the ball quite close to the pin. No worries, buddy. Okay, par 3. This one I like. I really like the look. I think your problem is that because of the elevation change, if we were playing from this tee, I think we would see everything a lot better. Actually, did you say? Yeah, you said blue tees. Good. Just had a minor worry. Because if you move me forward just a little, look at the view I get. And that's so much better than this one. The more you can kind of move us on elevated tees when there's a lot of it. If it's really downhill, it feels like you should be able to see everything perfectly. If you do that, just right at the very front of the tee box, and you'll get the big view. Because this is great. Unfortunately, this is not quite as good. We just lose a bit of that field in front of the front field of vision just before the green. That said, again, love the green site, love the planting around it. Hi, okay. I think this. Probably not the slow though. Ah, the tennis courts. And ticket building, I think, is going to be the most commonly used clubhouse accessory that we have in this game. Just looks great. Yeah, same with that. That bunker is going down maybe a little too steeply. They're just tough, and they're kind of bathtubing a bit at the bottom in that I think, try to have it as more of a constant gradient that bottoms out around about here rather than bottoming out here and then going back up. Oh, that one nearly lipped out. Yep. Yeah, Dan knows. Oh, the shed with the columns, I'm not sure I've found. Okay, so this is our drivable par 4, which is, I think, one of the ones we were looking at. Oh no, 14th. There's a crown pin. Actually, it's not. On a hole of this length, I'm all for this. Again, really nice green site. I feel like my biggest thing is just keep on working on bunkers. It's hard to point out, but I don't think the shapes are quite there, and that it's hard to point out because it's really instinctive. Let's see how that one does. Ooh, okay. Not the best leave. A 2-story shed. Haven't seen that one. And that's our first birdie. Lovely. Yeah, same thing with the par 3 tee box here again, because that planting's so good. Just don't hide it with sculpting. Green is good. I think the little micro tier could maybe use a bit of a flatten. The slopes in... I don't love this one falling off down here. Yeah, I think just a little bit of flattens at the top of your red slopes and the bottom of them would make this play a lot better. Again, great the big sight lines here are so good. Like down to there, over here. Like seeing little bits through here. Framing's great. Chuck me at the front of the tee box, and because again, like view from here, gorgeous. Yeah, this is the Oscar course. It's really good. Dan, you're going to enjoy the clubhouse I've made this morning. I've done a couple of things that I think are a bit new. Oh, that was not a good flop shot. Some of the green breaks I'd say feel a little random. So these beads moving this way, then pretty much everything else coming this way. Again, I think a flatten would help you. Just remove some of those slightly anomalous breaks. Again, I mean, I think my critique's going to be the same things, but generally, it's just a really solid course. I love that we're waterline now, and this must be our 3-shot par 5. 635 yards, yeah, I think we are. Sightline's good for a flat hole. So, I think, again, the question is where do we want... I don't think it matters too much off the tee where we are. Good that you put the trees there, just in case. Yeah, Maddie. Okay, we're going to check something. What am I looking for? Around about here. So that's 1 foot up. Sorry, that's 2 feet down. 1 foot up. I mean, we're just above the water level, but the fact that it's coming back down into the fairway generally isn't what we'd want. I think as much as possible try to have your land flowing towards the water and everything will just look like it makes a lot more sense. Right, I agree, Dan. This grass choice in this theme is so good. I do like the challenge to hit over to here. I think might prefer this hole a bit more if you'd made probably given... I love the planting down here. Extend this fairway out to about here, shuffle the planting a bit, and tighten this one up, because I don't think hitting this part of the fairway is... I mean, I'll probably miss it, but is that much of a challenge? Whereas I think on a 3-shot par 5, the trick is making the second shot interesting and challenging. So if you can make it so that this, like hitting this 3-wood over to here, is a really heroic carry, then I think the hole takes on a bit more. It just has a bit more to it. Told you we'd missed the fairway, but it was always the right miss. Yeah, again, the punch bowl right beside the water doesn't. I think a punch bowl's great when you're hitting a really long approach into it. No, later Nitro, and he'll be watching the video on demand. So yeah, he's done a great job. I think this sort of a green works so well on a long par 4 or a reachable par 5. When you're hitting a wedge shot into it, you don't really need all of these little kicker slopes that you've done so well. Whereas if I'm hitting a 4-iron into it, think about I could hit here and roll off that slope round here, or I could roll off that one and funnel back down, or I could go right at it and maybe just stop from this one. Whereas with a wedge, you're kind of asking for me to be more precise anyway. These bunker shapes I like. They're different, but I think they work well. As always, one a day. No, Mr. BR10. He's got more of a bot name than I do. No, he's gone. Right. Camber is worrying me. There we go. I enjoyed that. I think that little tweak on fairway landing zone and a bit more chat. Ooh, this one looks nice. I think this is your best par 3 yet, and I think it could be even better with a little bit more tweaking of your sightline. So I'd love to see the water all the way around. Just leap into this and point out what I'd see. I think if you dropped the planting and the land here a little bit, and here, raise the green a touch more, raise this land a bit more, so that you can see, you'd get this lower, this a bit lower, you'd see more of the water, then the green just a bit higher. I think it's mainly the planting, these bushes and the grass. Like, take that down a bit. I mean, it's a good looking par 3 as is. And a double green. Nice. Yeah, I really like this one. This is one of your best holes so far. Sightlines have been so good. For like a second course, this is so much better than Cedar Pines. Yeah, see, Wes is a happy man. Oh, thought I had that one. That's a lot of fun. Okay, this is the first one I don't think I get. I do see what we're doing, and it's kind of hit over and bounced down. It just feels so. It feels very out of place with the other holes. Because we have had elevation change, but most of it's been pretty flat around here, and it hasn't really been hitting over mounds, or when there's been elevation change, it's been like gradually done. This feels a bit of a departure. I don't think I hate the shot. It just doesn't really fit as it. Yeah. There's definitely a potential eagle hole for sure. Like, there are going to be people who, as the hole on its own, put it on a links course. Love this, like wild and crazy. Just yeah, a bit too funnily. I don't think there's necessarily either that much punishment if you miss, which is always a key thing for drive ball 4s. I like the concept though. I mean, because having missed the fairway, I would want to be definitely not making 3 from that. Oof. Okay. Kind of the same. Kind of the comments in reverse for this one. I think this one's a bit too punitive with that tiny slope on a par 3 into a headwind, which, I mean, you've told me the prevailing wind direction. This one feels like there's no way to get close, and there's water just to the left and short, right and short. Yeah, I don't. I like this one, but if this one was a 170 hole, that would work. And at that distance, yeah, we're not holding that. Hey, Lost Souls. What am I looking for? Splash. Just, yeah, that will do. I don't think it's an impossible hole by any means. I just think it's pretty much you're always making par on this one. At least with that pin. I mean, goodness, heaven forbid, I hope you haven't got a pin up here. I'm imagining you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one is like pins for here, but this tier and runoff feels sketchy as hell. Additionally, if we miss a pin up here long, that feels a bit gimmicky. Yeah, these are the last two. So I've got this one and I've got Brandis Trails. These are the two alternates who are going head to head, and both of them actually ended up as part of the full field and have done cracking jobs with both their courses. Ah, this one I like. So here you've got the river much more in play because, okay, you're asking me to cut the corner a bit and not take the river on, but I'm always going to have that in the back of my mind that I could end up in the river. Bunker layering's good. Yeah, everything's back to... This is the course I was used to and enjoying. The last two holes, not so much 15, 14 took me out of it, but... Yeesh, it's a bit of a nervy tee shot. Give me a right to left wind on that as well, and that's a really scary shot. I think generally tears are probably a little too much. I think 2 feet is, well, this one's 3 feet. I think the max I'd go would be 2. And even then that's like a pretty big tier. But that's a solid hole as well. I've broken par on a few, and don't jinx it. Yeah, I think we've had a few holes where the tee shots are the thing I'd work on in terms of your strategy. It's just I'm missing fairways everywhere. Every time I say tee shot needs a bit more, just a given. I think the approach shots have generally been really good. I think the tee shots where we've needed a bit more help. Because I think you can do a bunkerless tee shot, but it works well when it's one of very few on the course and it's combined with... Okay. Par 5 to close. Love the green site again. Water down the right this time, which is a nice change, and down the left. Well, shit. I think if you're going to put water both sides, I'd want a bit more safety if I'm laying up. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd want a bit more width back here if you were laying up. As is, I might as well hit driver, because... what's the worst that can happen? I do like that I can hit partial driver though, and full driver would probably run through. So that's an interesting way of doing it. Thanks, Dan. I'm glad you appreciated them. See if we can bounce in. Nope. But hopefully... yeah. That one moved loads. Yeah, I think that's a solid finishing hole. So overall, I think that's kind of my comment generally. It's a really solid course. There's that one hole that I didn't, well, 2 holes, 14 and 15, I didn't think worked. everything else was really, really nicely done. I do think, not necessarily challenge, but visual interest of the tee. The big sightlines were so well done, but a couple of it seems to be working on my laptop down. Yeah, a bit more interesting bunkering off the tee, gives cross bunkering or bunkers digging into one side, definer which side of the fairway do you want to go down and bunker that side maybe. A few things like that would help a bit more. I think your fairway edges, straightening those up would definitely help visually. What else would I say? Approach shots I think really good, green sight's really good, sightline's really good. The other main thing I'd mention would be bunker sculpting. And I know that was something that I found really difficult for my first probably 3 courses. It's getting there and some of them are really good, it's just not quite consistent yet. So yeah, right, I'm going to hop off. I'm going to be back in about 2 minutes for Brandes Trails, which is the other one. Well, it's probably because you took the mick out of my inability to hit fairways. Anyway, give me 2 minutes and I'll be back with the next one.